everybody, welcome back to Burn in Memory. When we left off, we just read a bunch of stuff about book burning and just like crazy stuff like that. And we're in the 21st Acting Regional Command in the lobby. The German Imperial Army's 21st Division was stationed here, occupying a commandeered high-class hotel overlooking the river. The Institute's proclivities had meant the Prussians had had their pick of the less austere establishments. Not that the Institute had much of a say in the matter, but this arrangement had worked quite well for both involved parties. The here elite could take their gilded spoils of war from the merchant princes and leave the Institute's less gaudy constructions to their original proprietors. The building's lobby was a decoratively involved work, brass gilding and tall windows to emphasize the view riverside. The German military had done little renovation, aside from removing a wall here and there, taking advantage of the former hotel's large social spaces to house the majority of their operation. Access to the building proper was obtained through double doors to the rear, but strangely, these were immovable, yet no lock. The Institute, now they are a queer bunch, a minor sect of Gnostic or Kabbalistic order or some such. The commander picks up a set of papers and handing them over the desk to a subordinate, he continues. That is until a French princeling took a fancy to them. Then their ideas simply became whatever they thought would best suit to court him. Say of them what you will, but by God, this got them rich, for a time, he grins. The subordinate hadn't moved from where he'd stood on receiving his charge, and now made a quizzical gesture towards the commander. Yes, just take it to the signal, boys, he says, waving his subordinate off. As ever, nothing new along the Rhine. He turns to me and says, a part of cause from this current annoyance you're here to deal with. While normally this would be up to our section to handle, the general staff have other ideas, and for what it's worth, I think they see this as an opportunity. Anything? Nope, okay. Alright, let's return to the boulevard. Oh, we've read this. Enter the Imperial Opera. Enter the theater. Oops. Sorry. The dueling sensibilities of the boulevard met their climax here. Palladial splendor with a Teutonic gravity, an aesthetic no doubt a tool to pacify and awe the newly conquered, and in this it was successful, for it indeed pacified the few that remained, those too poor or too stubborn to flee, but of these fewer still could find a use for the operatic works of a hostile nation. This did not mean that the theater found no patronage, however. The structure's unique location meant many would take the journey on sentimentality's sake alone. And so over the decades, the opera enjoyed a workable audience of the overly patriotic. An imperial staircase filled the foyer, a tiered structure built not to facilitate traversal, but to force on you the gravity of what you came to witness. This led up to two wings, these quarters overlooking the foyer, to then continue into the theater proper. A door off one of these led up a flight of steps to the principal director's office. Let's go into the director's office. The office overlooked the river directly below. You could hear the faint sound of water lapping against the building's supports. The director clearly made use of his view. As placed before the window were a couch, phonograph, and a reading table. In a corner of the room resided a miniature cabinet set into the director's desk, its drawer ajar. A reading table. Set with a small portrait of Giuseppe Garibaldi. I now recognize the flag that flew was draped over the far wall at the tricolor of unified Italy. Resided a miniature cabinet set into the director's desk, drawer open to reveal a small safe. Examine the safe. A diminutive but stout combination safe. Atop it lay a small tricolor flag bearing the colors of the Kingdom of Italy. That's gotta be something, right? Like it has to have something to do with, Examine the phonograph. Worn with use, but of a make befitting one who has made music their living. So I can't do anything. Giuseppe Garibaldi. There's a thing. Oops, sorry. Smack the crap out of my friggin' microphone like a jerk. Like, hey, what's up? I don't know. Maybe. Is that it? No? That's not it? Lame. I was kind of hoping that that would mean something. I looked up the year that the flag was adopted, but nope. Alright, back to the foyer. Is there anything, No. Enter the theater. The theater was of typical European design, an enclosed crescent, multi-tiered arms embracing flat rows of seating before meeting at the stage. Never entirely conquering the silence, an echo of faint, indistinct music faded into and out of hearing, though the orchestra pit remained empty of both performer and instrument. The lighting was of a similar sort, dim and of a curious tone, illumination without source. The modern European, that is, classical antiquity, enjoyed a more egalitarian design, with seating varying little in quality throughout. A formless thing, that vast and dreadful puppeteer. You can see it pull the strings, watch it make the men dance across the stage as it quivers in terrible amusement. The audience watches, rapt, their wings motionless as their eyes follow every futile movement. Futile, for the men know not their master, and believe in foolish hope that they shall find what vain thing they have been impelled to seek. Mere puppets they, in a circular dance of farcical return, sin, madness, and sin again in its turn. So do we truly surrender to sorrow when the writhing end arrives, or do we surrender to joy and witness to this beautiful desolation of man devoured, and its hero, the conquering worm? Creepy. Ooh, somebody sounds like they're having a bad day. That's what that sounds like. Okay, let's return to the boulevard. Oh, we've already done this. We've done these two. So let's continue back along the boulevard toward the plaza. See what we can see. Along the eastern side of the boulevard, refitted stores had been split and partitioned to act as narrow townhouses. Names and numbers had long since faded from the facades, brass plate and chalk alike, but one plaque read with perfect clarity, Salandra Residence, Lethe Avenue. An entrance identical in make to its likewise austere neighbors, but with the glaring exception that here the brass nameplate was still legible, locked. Always locked. Let's go toward the river. The river bent to meet the northern quarter of the city, ending the boulevard in a promenade of sorts that continued some distance along the shore. Opulence and austerity were at war along the boulevard, with a Baroque sensibility gaining dominance as one moved closer to the river, culminating at the center of this with the Imperial Opera, an imposing hulk of a structure brooding above the waters. So we've already been here. Alright, let's go back to where we were. We'll do the intersection instead. Okay. An intersection of 3 streets marked the entrance to the old quarter. The old aqueduct lent its name to the district as it ran through here in a condition of painstaking and yet, as the centuries passed, ever more Sisyphine repair. In its shadow rose a grand 8-story building, grand and built by the unmistakable hand of commerce that draws all form towards the sensual, but still that ancient work of the aqueduct loomed over unheeding. We went in here already, right? Yeah, and I don't think there was anything. Let's check the watchmaker store again, just to check and see if there's any, little italicized words in the sentences, because you can click on those, it looks like. Let's go into the workshop. Okay, this is where I already got that. Why is it telling me I want it? Take it. It's here, but I guess I can take it again if I have to. Yeah, no italicized words. Okay. Let's go into Lorentz again, just in case. No italicized words. Return to the intersection, continue through the rear exit. Okay, so there's nothing we can do here. That's traverse an arcade heading south. Right, here's a bar. Just off the promenade, an intersection of two narrow avenues met in what could be considered a small square, inscribed plainly with Verona Square, and old brass plaques set within the paving stones confirmed this. Down a shallow set of iron steps, a cramped arcade continued west. So we'll go into the bar. Through a door ajar and a darkened flight of stairs was the Mayfly, a working-class drinkery. Never touched by the light of day, the ever-too-faint oil lamps provided the entirety of the lighting. A small stage was the focal point of what light there was, and cast in this dim focus lay a wreath of blue flowers. "They call us filth," Edith shouts, "but they're the ones with blood on their hands. What stains the dear fingers of us working girls is a liquid of another kind, eh?" Laughter and drunken cheering, then unexpectedly she turns to me. "What says the old soldier, eh, Marcel? Whose blood you spill?" I give her a puzzled look. "A joke," she makes a face, Marcel. "I shan't say you look a day older than me." "No, that you'd call me a soldier." I say, "I haven't fought in a war, save for the struggle of downing a mug of what passes for beer here. For this, they should give me a medal," I say with a grin. She's not convinced. "I see many soldiers in my line of work, up quite close and personal, I should add. And you hold yourself as they do," she replies, peering over at me. "Got that look in your eyes also." She was right about everything. I had fought. I did indeed have blood on my hands. And if things were to continue as I had set them to, my hands would remain so stained. While I was stationed with the colonial forces near the Namib, a visiting British officer had told me that the whole project of colonialism functioned on the same mechanism to a weapon they had, called the Maxim gun, a beastly thing that could tear a man in half. It cemented their rule and terror, and fired with a unique mechanism. Each shot would power the action of the next, an eternal cycle of violence. A machine that fed on blood, where the greatest efforts on the part of the operator was to release the trigger. At the time I considered him an old fool, but here I am, finger on the trigger, hesitant to fire. Marcel, what you got yourself into, buddy? What you doing? So no words to click on. The river bent to meet the northern quarter of the city, ending the boulevard in a promenade of sorts that continued some distance along the shore. Oh, I already read this. Okay. So we've been here. Let's go here. Remember, we're trying to find like little hints and clues, things that I can pick up. It's the Lacombe building where we've already been. I've actually been to a lot of this stuff already. The Latin Quarter is where Solandra's door is, or place is. There wasn't anything of significance in here, just this thing about Lawrence and stuff. There's like 2 different stores inside here. Here we go. The cast iron beams of the support structure arched overhead, row after row rendered in rust and flaked paint, to be interspaced with faded glass plate. Black banners hung from the apex of each arch to billow, and then be restrained at the termination of the arc. Below, elegant though long unpolished wooden panel booths enclosed the lounge, centered around a square of dust-laden and partially shredded couches. No clicky clicks. Let's go inside. The administration booths had been repurposed as a set of small studio spaces. Paint of all colors stained the desk, though a strange abundance of red and black dominated the more careless marks. To the rear of the structure, an old and worn combination safe lay on the dust-laden and scratch-tarnished wooden surface. There's another one I can't do anything with. An antique safe, likely a holdover from the structure's former occupation as an administrative office, though tarnished with a pattern of scratch and wear that suggested continued use. I don't have anything to click on. Oh, did I do this? I didn't. Our generation wasn't the one to build the railways, but we remember their struggle. The world our parents built with hammer and iron is our inheritance, and to claim it as our own is our right. You view this place with the same shame you cast us, and in disrepair and neglect you have kept it. We are as its kin in blood and scorn, and to this end we lay claim to this monument. And a monument this is, a monument to a dalliance with that world outside your tower you can neither forgive nor forget. Oh. Intense? Almost angry. Nothing to click on. I already went in there. Okay, we'll return to the promenade. Guess we can go back into the Institute. Just to check to see if there's anything that we can actually, you know, click on in the paragraphs. Because I might have missed something, you know. Mayhaps. Let's see. Nothing. Ascend to the top. Oh, first mezzanine. This level was furnished with neatly arranged, though signs of struggle marked the floor where this was not without exception. Desks, each set with a single lamp. 3 floors of mezzanine. Successively tapering outwards to be supported by sweeping beams and slender columns of wrought iron. So this is just details about this place that we came into. This is where we started. This device. What? I can touch it again? Ooh. I sated its hunger. It now belongs to me. Huh. I already did that though, right? Okay. We can't go up to the top because it's like too dark. Our person is like, I don't think I want to do that. And it's like, why not? It's not that bad. A wiener. Guess we'll go back downstairs. Atrium. Nothing. Gate remains. Nope. Don't see anything of importance, so I guess we can go ahead. Descend to the pendulum. Spooky. The black pendulum swings, a ripple of motion in calm waters. The city's beating heart have waited still. Below it, the tiles were decorated in the fashion of a sun wheel, centered so that the pendulum would act at its axis. Jagged arms in black spun outwards, calling to mind lightning with their broken form. To the west, 2 wide boulevards split the city before the sun, twin arteries that flowed red with light, stately, grand, and decorative, but only up to a point, dominated as they were by the great mass of the Institute looming opposite them. A many-tiered thing that rose in stone towards a tower, imposing yet distant, still as adamant, yet in motion, embodied as the falls thundering down beyond sight. Fitting duality. Here an entrance led deep below the tower, embraced by the crescent steps that began the ascent in symmetry. Again befit with a monolithic black door, mirroring in design the riverside entrance far above, another duality. Nothing? Nope. That old anarchist Kropotkin says history is like a pendulum, a long night of slumber, then the day breaks in motion as we cast off our chains. Ever astute in his observation, but I confess that if he is right, then will we not be here again at this exact point, watching the same pendulum play to the same ever-unchanging rhythm? When the pendulum slows and the night nears, are we to be set in chains again? The pendulum was placed here at the heart of the city to remind of us and instill in us this ideology of poverty and motion. I reject this and say instead that to see history in cycles is to resign change to a pattern set long ago. In short, it is to remain still. Words, all words, action and motion, but here I sit and I write, and writing is merely the threat and dream of action. Who is Eugenie? Is that us? Are we Eugenie? What's this? Oh, we already did that. Whoops. So I'm not really finding any more clues out here that would allow us to pick more things up, because we have a bunch of things here, but I don't really know, you know, where they are. I've already been here to this memory. I don't think there's anything in the memories themselves. No, there's not. Yeah, I don't really know. I haven't been able to pick anything else up as of yet. I know there's got to be more here because there's like a big list of, oh, it's gone. A big list of things that we can, you know, we can actually pick up and use. This is where our friend lived, or the main character's friend, or whoever is asking us to go and look around this place. And their house is locked right now, but there has to be some sort of key for us to get in there. Whoa. The boulevards are a shadow of their former self now. Their champions, those men we name captains of industry, have long since fled for new conquests, new cities to brand their engorged likeness upon. In our optimism, we sold our bodies to make a new world for them of iron and grand stone, our pride such that we saw the Lethe as a monument to our own success, not theirs. Then the Prussians broke us, and we saw the rich could leave as easily as they had come, take as easily as they could give, and the Lethe gave us nothing, as is the want of stone and iron, I write. I put down my notebook to adjust my gloves, warm them against my coat, a glance at the winter sky to check for rain, then I continue my missive. For all its imagery of iron industry in such a fragile is such a fragile thing, and its captains are made of lesser material still, but they have not fallen. They have simply taken their farce elsewhere, a new stage set for those same faces to perform their soliloquies, to capital and identical timbre. Do I really believe what I write, or does the role I play guide my hand to end this last act in violence? Every stage has its place for one to play the traitor, but in our profession it takes a true talent to fool ourselves. That harshest of spectators, our performance is a lie told in greatest sincerity. And those of us traitors who thrive in this vicious time have such unyielding faith in our own self-interest to put to shame the truest of believers. The Lethe has found a new life, a quieter life. Maybe it's better that way. No, I strike that line out in anger. I need to make these words burn. So Marcel, maybe we're supposed to be going to meet Marcel. Or not, I don't know. But somebody's doing some traitory stuff to somebody. And obviously it was pretty bad. It doesn't really say what they did that was so traitorous, but Marcel seems to be playing a huge part in whatever happened. So yeah, I don't really know what he did. But whatever he did, he didn't like it, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know where else to go. There is a way to, get all these, but it's not in a very, story, fulfilling way. There's, a setting you can go to here where you can just click on free roam mode and you get all the stuff. But I don't really want to do it that way. I'd like to try and find all of the things on my own if I can. I just don't know how to do that, since it's very, very hard to understand how we're supposed to be getting all these things. You know, I can't really click on anything. There's a save here, but there's not much. I'm not gonna click on the thing. That's the free roam mode. I don't want that. I want to see if maybe there's a weird Easter egg or something. No? Okay. I just wanted to check and see. I thought maybe they might have, just put something in that I didn't notice before. But it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like there's really anything around here. It's kind of confusing. You know what I mean? Trying to find all this stuff, but it doesn't really give you, I guess you're supposed to explore, but it doesn't give you, a clear, direction of what you're trying to do. I've already been inside the bar, but I couldn't find anything else. And I can't get into the Iron Garden because it's locked. It's locked right now. There's nothing for me to grab here. And I would like to find everything if I can. Right now we're in the Latin Quarter. There's really nothing, nothing for me to pick up that I found, not in here. I mean, I'm sure I have to get the director's safe open for one. I mean, that just makes sense. I don't really know how to do that, though. There's no clue on the sonograph. So I don't really know. I'm guessing that it would just open when I get the right number. But I don't really want to sit here and do the whole, like, I wonder what it could be. Like, just sit here and guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's gotta be something, though. And I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of confusing. It's a little disappointing that it's not... Wait, is that it? Nope. I thought it did something weird. It did not. It did not do anything. It was a lie. I just clicked a little bit off of it, and it was like, oh, nope. Lies. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I'll try to figure it out for next time, but it's a little disappointing that it's not quite as clear as I would like it to be. Maybe it has something to do with Garibaldi or something. I don't know any of this weird history stuff that's going on here with the weird Ouroboros clock and the weird keys. It's kind of like an actual, like, event set in, like, a sci-fi fantasy world, so I don't know. But thank you guys for coming in and watching another episode of this. Sorry I didn't really get much further than I had before, but I will look into it and see if I can figure out where I'm supposed to go next, just so we're not stuck in the same, like, few areas and I'm not just repeating the same stuff over and over again. But you guys have been awesome. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the feedback. I love you guys, and I will see you next time, alright? Bye!